Welcome to Self-Improvement Academy. Grow yourself every day with KOKOSHUNGSAN. Please subscribe and hit the notification bell for the latest updates. If you like it, please like, share it, and leave comments. Thanks for your support and for helping us make the world a better place. 101 Tips for Avoiding Procrastination. Procrastination at Home 3. Tip number 14: Keep it simple. This is a common advice. Simplifying your life means a simpler, uncluttered way of living. Get rid of grit and gunk from your house. When your house overflows with objects, it tends to distract you. And we all know what happens when there is too much distraction. It prevents you from thinking and acting intelligently, hence you procrastinate. Go around your house and make a list of everything you don't really need. For instance, do you really need 3 toasters in the kitchen? One hasn't been working for months. You either dispose of it or have it fixed. Tip number 15: Ask family members to do an inventory. Ask your husband and children to do an inventory of clutter. Your husband can do the garage and the basement. Your children can do their bedrooms. Stipulate that you need their lists in 3 days, no later. Explain to them why junk has to be eliminated from the house. If you explain your intentions clearly, they will understand and would be more willing to cooperate. Tell them that the house needs a much-needed airing, and when all the junk disappears, so will the distractions. Tip number 16: Encourage them not to replace old junk with new junk. It can be a vicious cycle. Just as we manage to clear the house of unwanted bric-a-brac, in come new ones. Explain to your family that there was a specific reason for clearing junk. Old clutter should not be replaced with new clutter. Encourage them to think twice before acquiring additional material possessions. Examples: will I consult this book more than once, or is it just for 1 school assignment? Maybe I can borrow it from the library instead? The hubby loves tools. He spends his weekly allowance on them. He just filled up an entire wall with all kinds of tools. Ask him which ones he hasn't used for 6 months and ask him to throw them away. The clothes in your closet. Which of them have you not worn for 6 months? Call the Salvation Army or the recycling center. As soon as the closet is half full, and you can finally see the wall of your closet, you'll be inspired to reorganize your whole bedroom. Dressers, commode and night table drawers, shoe racks included. Tip number 17: Don't let your house budget stick out like a sore thumb. Click below to learn more. Read more and get paid to write at press.kokoshungsan.net. KOKOSHUNGSAN pays you to have fun. kokoshungsan.net